What if your greatest struggle wasn't visible on your body, but hidden deep inside the way your brain experiences reality, emotions, relationships, and daily life? Mental disorders aren't character flaws, personal failures, or weaknesses. They are differences in how the brain processes fear, reward, memory, attention, identity, and connection. Behind every diagnosis is a person fighting challenges that most people never see, often while appearing completely normal to everyone around them. Let's explore some of the world's most misunderstood mental disorders and discover what life can actually feel like from the inside. Imagine surviving a terrifying experience years ago, yet a sound, smell, or image can instantly make your body believe the danger returned. Your heart races, your muscles tighten, and your mind enters survival mode before you consciously understand what triggered the reaction. The memory doesn't feel distant, it feels present, as though you're reliving the experience instead of remembering something from the past. This is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, where the brain's alarm system remains active long after the original threat disappears. PTSD isn't refusing to move on. It's a nervous system trying desperately to protect you from a danger it still believes exists. Now imagine sitting down to complete an important task, fully aware it matters, yet feeling completely unable to begin, despite wanting to. Minutes become hours while frustration grows. The task remains untouched, even though part of you desperately wants to make progress. Then, something interesting catches your attention, and suddenly you become so focused that the outside world practically disappears. Hours pass effortlessly without noticing hunger, time, or distractions. This intense concentration is often called hyperfocus. Attention deficit. Hyperactivity disorder isn't a lack of attention. It's difficulty regulating attention, motivation, priorities, and mental energy. Now imagine a disturbing thought suddenly appearing in your mind, completely unwanted yet impossible to ignore or dismiss. What if I harmed someone? What if I forgot something important? What if disaster happens because of me? The anxiety becomes overwhelming, pushing you to check, count, wash, repeat, or seek reassurance in order to feel safe. Relief arrives briefly, but uncertainty quickly returns, restarting the cycle and demanding the ritual all over again. This is obsessive-compulsive disorder, where the real enemy isn't the thought itself, but the endless need for certainty. Imagine sitting peacefully when your heart suddenly races, your chest tightens, and your body becomes convinced something terrible is happening. Every sensation feels dangerous. Breathing becomes difficult, and panic convinces you that you're losing control. Medical tests may show nothing physically wrong, yet the experience feels completely real and intensely frightening. After repeated attacks, many people begin avoiding places where panic might happen again, creating a second layer of fear. This avoidance can become agoraphobia, where leaving safe environments starts feeling more dangerous than staying inside them. Now imagine hearing a voice that nobody else can hear, yet it sounds as real as any conversation. Or imagine believing ordinary events contain hidden meanings specifically directed toward you and nobody else. These experiences aren't imaginary to the person experiencing them. They feel completely real and convincing. Schizophrenia affects how the brain interprets reality, creating hallucinations, delusions, and confusion that can disrupt everyday life. Despite common myths, schizophrenia is not a split personality. It is a disorder involving perception, thinking, and reality processing. Imagine waking up with so much energy that sleep feels unnecessary, and every idea seems brilliant, exciting, and possible. Confidence grows rapidly. Goals become bigger. Risks feel smaller. The future appears limitless and full of opportunity. Then everything changes. Energy disappears, motivation collapses, and even simple tasks suddenly feel incredibly difficult. The emotional shift isn't subtle. It can dramatically affect behavior, sleep, relationships, decision-making, and daily functioning. This pattern of elevated and depressed mood states forms the core experience of bipolar disorder. Now imagine receiving a delayed text message and immediately feeling convinced that someone important is abandoning you. A small disagreement feels devastating. A misunderstanding feels catastrophic. Emotional reactions arrive with overwhelming intensity. Relationships can swing between deep connection and deep pain, often within a very short period of time. fear of rejection becomes so powerful that it shapes thoughts, feelings, and reactions throughout everyday life. Borderline personality disorder isn't manipulation. It's often the experience of emotions that feel impossible to regulate or escape. Depression is often mistaken for sadness, but many people describe it as feeling emotionally numb rather than overwhelmingly emotional or tearful. Activities that once brought excitement, meaning, or happiness suddenly feel empty, distant, and strangely disconnected from your emotional experience. Even simple tasks like showering, replying to messages, or getting out of bed can require enormous effort and determination. The future begins to look smaller. Motivation fades. Hope becomes difficult to access, even when positive opportunities still exist. Major depressive disorder affects how the brain processes reward, motivation, energy, and pleasure, making everyday life feel unexpectedly heavy. Now imagine your mind constantly scanning the future for possible problems, even during moments when everything appears calm and safe. A simple decision creates endless chains of what-if questions, each leading to another possibility, concern, or imagined outcome. Your body reflects the stress, muscles stay tense, shoulders tighten, and relaxation feels temporary rather than natural. The danger rarely arrives, yet your brain continues preparing for it as though an emergency could happen at any moment. This persistent anticipation is known as generalized anxiety disorder, where the mind becomes trapped in a cycle of constant worry. Imagine wanting friendship, connection, and conversation, yet feeling intense fear every time attention turns toward you. Every word feels important. Every mistake feels magnified. Every interaction becomes something to analyze long after it ends. You replay conversations repeatedly, searching for signs that others judged, rejected, or misunderstood something you said. The fear isn't people themselves. The fear is embarrassment, criticism, rejection, and the possibility of social failure. Social anxiety disorder often affects people who deeply desire connection, but feel overwhelmed by the risks that connection seems to carry. Now imagine looking into a mirror and seeing a version of yourself that feels completely different from reality. Food stops being just food. It becomes connected to control, comfort, achievement, fear, punishment, and personal worth. Meals become emotional decisions rather than physical ones, carrying meaning far beyond simple hunger or nutrition. Thoughts about body image begin influencing behavior, self-esteem, relationships, routines, and sometimes even physical health. Eating disorders aren't vanity or attention-seeking. They're serious mental illnesses that often develop as coping mechanisms for deeper pain. Imagine discovering evidence of actions, conversations, or decisions that you genuinely don't remember making or experiencing. Hours of time appear missing, leaving gaps in memory that feel confusing, frightening, and difficult to explain. Researchers believe dissociative identity disorder can develop when severe trauma overwhelms a child's ability to cope safely. The mind creates separation between painful experiences and conscious awareness, allowing survival during situations that feel impossible to endure. Despite popular portrayals in movies, DID is usually far more complex, subtle, and misunderstood than most people realize. These conditions may look different on the surface, but they all reveal the incredible complexity of the human mind. Mental disorders are not personal failures, weaknesses, excuses, or signs that someone simply isn't trying hard enough. They emerge through complicated interactions between biology, genetics, environment, life experiences, and sometimes profound psychological trauma. Behind every diagnosis is a human being doing their best to navigate challenges that others may never fully understand. Many people living with these conditions build meaningful relationships, successful careers, loving families, and fulfilling lives despite their struggles. Understanding mental health helps replace judgment with curiosity, misconceptions with knowledge, and stigma with genuine compassion. The more we learn about the mind, the easier it becomes to support people who experience the world differently. Because every diagnosis tells a story, and every story belongs to a person deserving understanding, dignity, respect, and hope. Mental illness is part of the human experience. Compassion, treatment, and understanding are how we help people find their way forward.
Stop chasing motivation. Start understanding your mind. Subscribe to Inner Violet and learn how to think, not just react.